Oh my goodness. Okay, we're here. We're here. I'm in the corner. Me in the spotlight. Hello. We're here to do something that I wanted to get off my chest for a little bit. And I guess I want to just start off with doing a second jump scare, which is this thing. Ah. Okay. So, to explain myself. Uh just finishing after finishing disc 1 recently of Legend of Dragoon again, and how I kind of started off with everything, it got me into really digging into all of the remake stuff that has been going on with Legend of Dragoon over the years. Like, this isn't just like this year or 2024 stuff. This has been bubbling for quite a while. I'm not going to be looking at every single thing, but let's just say I've compiled together some things to go over to do a little bit of criticism with the whole thing. Criticism that I feel is warranted, that I think I can give to really just kind of temper what's going on with the whole thing. So, this little bit of business here. who this? I would love to have like some sort of like music in the background. Maybe I can pull that off. I have no idea. Hold on. What can get me through this whole thing here? That is fine. Yeah, sure, yeah. It's better. It's about the same thing that I'm going to be having overall here. So, back to this. So overall, I'm going to be looking at this in 3 parts. Really? One is still concept art that I kind of have here that isn't even fully completed. Then getting into more of the characters in terms of what their movement is, and then getting into, since I've only done disc 1 so far, just kind of pulling apart what has been going on with remaking Legend of Dragoon in terms of its concept and what it could possibly be in terms of being remade. All right. So, this here. Hi, Dart. So when you're looking at this concept art in terms of what's going on with him as a character, so Dart is 23. And in terms of him being 23 and that kind of idea of what it's kind of looking at here after 5 years of being away, kind of being with the Black Monster and whatnot, I kind of get the idea of like he's coming back from kind of a journey there, because his overall face and whatnot is really not depicting any sort of hard journey or anything like that. But then again, in terms of the whole journey with the Black Monster, I don't feel like there was that much of wasn't that much hardship to even begin with. We don't get much information about the 5-year gap between Dart leaving and Dart returning. But I don't see this kind of huge like transformation of him coming back from being with the Black Monster. It's not believable in that sense there. And what this person did, and this is back in January of 2023, he was using a mix between Mid-Journey and Stable Diffusion, which was kind of the main thing back then. Not really used that much anymore, or at least not publicly announced that it's being used. But if I keep going, then you get into what the Dragoon looks like. Some of these Dragoon designs are questionable at best. Like, I could be nitpicking and I would be here for hours. But in terms of this, there's just inconsistencies, and the other thing about, at least with the AI designs, is that they're really overly complicated. And I'm gonna be repeating this over and over because if this is supposed to be like used as concept, that means you're pitching with this kind of thing. So when I'm looking at this, I'm going like, okay, you have this piece here, which I don't know what it's for. You have some weird perspective happening back here. Where are these coming from? And then you have like overall criticism with like, what's the wing design actually supposed to do? And then ultimately, how is this translating to like actually in game if this is supposed to be, you know, a game? I look at this bit here as well, going like, okay, is this armor? Because it's kind of matching the flesh tone here idea. Like it's all mismatched and whatnot. Also, not to mention just general features are completely different. There's a lot of Dart AI where it just kind of goes into, again, chiseled person there. There's some that's noticeably worse there. But if I was to go and take a look at something a little bit different there. Oh, the idea of Celeste. I find that there's more for me to take a look at when there's this kind of concept here, where it's obviously using the idea of what's being shown here and transforming into something else, which makes me question why are things still on fire there? What's going on in the distance either? Because Celeste is supposed to be a really small town, unless they're going to be making it a little bit bigger. Who knows? They kind of look at this concept and go, where are we going? Where are we going with this? How are places, like, what are we traversing here? Are we is it going to be kind of the exact same as it was with Celeste in the original game where you're not getting anything from anywhere? Like, if I was to go into these two areas here, is there anything, or are you just not allowed in? Or are you just heading out into the forest area, which we will get into because there's a forest area concept here, which I really don't like. Back to character, though. Hey, look at Fairbrand. I haven't talked about it much yet because we haven't seen a whole lot of there. But a big compliment of Legend Dragoon's designs is with the dragons themselves, and that most of them don't follow the typical dragon kind of idea. Like Fairbrand is, again, focused more on like the wind element or earth, but is more akin to a giant mantis than being a dragon, whereas whatever prompt was being used in here, it's like, hey, we're gonna go for the more Western dragon aesthetic. Also, the way that it's positioned, going like, okay, if this was Fairbrand being a boss fight again, would it be one of those boss fights, especially if you're going to be transforming Legend of Dragoon back into into a more action-focused RPG? Is this one of the giant bosses who would just be on the ledge here with their hands just kind of going like there, and you would have to attack both arms in order to eventually do damage to the head? Do I immediately have that idea? Like, it's kind of annoying. It's kind of annoying when I immediately think that based on the pose, based on the general structure, and that we don't have a full idea of what Fairburn even looks like from this concept. I kind of know where it would ultimately go. Because it's another thing that really is shown in the game is that Fairburn travels around the country doing things. So are we just removing the idea that Dol has, like Emperor Dol and Sandora have control over Fairbrand and Fairbrand is part of the army? Are we removing that for the sake of he's in this one spot and can't move. Do we have any mobility? I don't know. From here, really don't know. Lavitz. Apart from the fade cut, I don't have much to say. I definitely know that this is the time in AI where they're just kind of like slotting together pieces in order to make designs, because that's clearly what's happening over on the Pauldron over here. Like, things a little bit misaligned. It's too shiny for its own good. Like, not much for me to really poke at in terms of lab. It's pretty, like, overall it's pretty decent. It doesn't translate to his Dragoon form, though. For some reason, with the Dragoon form, it goes a little bit more elvish. And the design here of going like, okay, again, wing design. The wing design was supposed to be very standard around the armors. Well, not with this one. This guy's not flying, I don't think. On top of that, it's just over-designed in terms of, like, rendering. So, again, how would this translate in terms of, like, animating it and having some sort of movement of the character? Like, a lot of this detail would have to be lost for the sake of development time. They also... Similarly, the AI was very focused on this kind of headpiece for just, like, this bit, which feels like they're wearing headphones and are able to communicate with one another through headphones. Which is like, okay. Especially when we get to, like, Shauna's idea coming next. Meanwhile, Shauna. I gave myself a reason for why Shauna looks like that in order to justify it to myself, because otherwise I'm like, okay, fresh-faced, 18 years old. This is not an 18-year-old, unless you were going to do a big rewrite of the beginning of the story, where Shauna is kidnapped and brought to Helena. But what if Shauna was kidnapped and brought to Helena years before Dart arrived? I think that would be an interesting change in order to make Shauna a little bit different, a little bit more hardened, to kind of justify kind of looking like this, having like a couple of, like a longer time in Helena compared to however brief it honestly could have been in the actual game, where it's just like, okay, she's kidnapped, Dart immediately comes back and knows that this has happened, so Shauna was probably in Helena for at most a week, maybe a few days. Honestly, don't know in terms of spans of time, because that's always a problem in RPGs or just long-standing stories in video games, is that you really don't have a sense of how long it takes to get from point A to point B and how long the journey really was. That's kind of the only thing I have with that, other than following kind of the similar bone structure. And then you just throw it completely out the window in terms of this Dragoon design. Again, side piece right here. headphone communicators that are happening there. Different wing design again. Really not sure what to make of it. And they were kind of going with this similar perspective, where one eye is focused on and the other eye just kind of gets lost in the shuffle. It happens with a couple of designs that come out of this. It tries to follow it. It gives like a corset, which the main one doesn't really have. I really don't know with it. Then you get Helena Prison. Other than it completely failed the assignment, it got the Rising Sun, like, Twilight idea of it. It failed at constructing what Helena Prison actually is, which is an entire structure that is built inside of a case of rock. Instead of a nice cozy set of buildings on a separate island with a weird decrepit bridge that I don't think the carts for transportation of goods would even be able to get across. It's too warm is kind of my thing. Going like, okay, this is supposed to be the most hardened place in terms of prisons that is in the story of Legend of Dragoon, and it's just not here. I would hate for it to be remade in terms of just being just a set of buildings here, because it being encased in rock and having that like massive structure made it so much different. And you have the guards. Pay no mind to the hands really just not figuring out what they need to do in terms of fusing to whatever weapon they're supposed to be using, which is not even really shown there. Like, I'm covering up the whole idea of, like, he has a spear in one hand and a blade in the other. The thing about the prison guards is that with some of their dialogue, like, some of the prison guards are just, like, regular people. And this design makes them feel like they're more, shall we say, demon-like? I'm going like, not all of them, like, not all prison guards are demons. Like, there's a lot of evidence to kind of prove that a lot of prison guards are kind of assholes, but not all of them. Like, it's kind of all right. But for the regular prison guards, having this kind of, like, elaborate design there, I kind of don't see it. Like, with the senior guards, which is a little bit later, the first thing I think of is that they're more like Mortal Kombat characters. Or at least, like, fodder for Mortal Kombat characters to just kill. It's really just in the mask, overall. Like, I can see that they're more senior, which means that they're more just in tune with the prison, therefore less humanity, kind of that idea there. But it doesn't work with the original there. These guys look higher, like they have more authority than the seniors, to be honest. Like, they have less elaborate armor. I don't know. It feels a little bit odd to me. And then you get to Frugal. So, Frugal is a complete enigma in The Legend of Dragoon. Like, you don't know what he is. So this kind of, like, again, especially with artificial intelligence, I don't think they even, like, it would even understand what an enigma even is. Because, like, he looks like this. He is completely unknown, giant thing, and they just make him just like a big, heavy set man with horns kind of thing. A lot of shadow obscuring what's going on with the appendages and whatnot. He gave him a cape. They gave him a cape and bottom there so they didn't have to deal with the legs too much. Almost, yeah, they clothed him is kind of what happened. So yeah, I think this completely loses the plot of, like, what Frugal is, and that it's a complete mystery that you never get the answer to. Then we get the forest area. This really activated a lot of things in me, because I'm kind of in the position where I hear from a lot of aspiring concept artists who, like, pitch their ideas and kind of show their stuff off. And I see this forest area and go, this would just be, I feel like this would just be rejected at this point. Maybe back in 2017, they would look at something like this and go, ooh, the possibilities. But now this seems very like trite and done and kind of exhausted in terms of what a wooded area looks like. And to be honest, like if I looked at this, I'm going like, this is the forest. I'm like, is it a forest? Looks more like a jungle to me. And it looks more like alien than it would like a fantasy world. Because the first thing I'm thinking of is, what is the idea of traversal? Like, how are you getting around this place? Like, you have this like overcrop area. Like, are you, like, if this was something that was going to be translated one for one in game, are you able to go up to this area and kind of do stuff in here? Or is it the down area? Are we talking about multiple tiers of ground that you're able to work with? Like, this feels like vast and huge for seemingly no reason when you're talking about Legend of Dragoon and the forest area, and that really just like not being a place that you spend too much time on. It was more like a test area than it was like an actual like fully established place where you would find multiple people or events or anything like that. It was your area in order to figure out the mechanics of combat before you got to the prison, and that was where you were really tested. The prairie from an artist standpoint, you have what they were trying to build off of, and then it got to this. And I feel like this is just a failure of showing what could possibly be done. Because this feels like a pathway that leads to a dead end. It doesn't feel like a pathway that has, in this case, splitting off into different directions and showing that the prairie is much wider than it is. This is a very closed off feeling area. Like you would go here for like a very specific scene and then you would turn around and go completely elsewhere. That's kind of my take there, because when it comes to especially what your eye focuses on the tree, because there's nothing else to look at, because even the horizon line is so high that's like, okay, I can't see beyond it. And I kind of want to. Whereas even though the horizon line is very high in this one, because it has this upward slope to it, you at least have an idea of where you could go to go forward. This doesn't do it enough. And then you have the limestone cave. Why are there torches here? And I think this is just a problem with like even the original part there, because you are coming into the limestone cave from the outside and then you go in, which is, I guess, in terms of retrospect, a weird perspective decision in order to do it, because this way, when it comes to redoing this bit here, it feels like I'm supposed to be leaving the limestone cave here, not entering it. Also had to put a lot of just like nature just like scattered everywhere for no seeming reason. And the other thing, it doesn't feel like I'm going into a cave because of the lighting that's kind of going through here. Like weird light source that's happening here versus, yeah, we have the light source of what's outside and then it's completely gone once you go in. All right. I don't know what's going on with this. So this is the big snake. Why does it look like some sort of Mesoamerican god? Like, slap it onto any Aztec game, it feels out of place now. What's the teeth doing? What are the big glowing eyes doing? The art style got completely messed up with this design here. It's really bad. It's really not good. Really not good. Then we got Bale, or at least the castle. This castle has many different flavors to it. Especially when it comes to, I'm going to start from the right side and work my way to the left. Because, why is the right side of the castle here looking so much more, haunted and dead compared to the left side, bathed in sunlight? Just because something is bathed in sunlight doesn't mean that it's living compared to the stuff that doesn't get any sunlight and is in shadow. Doesn't mean that we have to have, like, you know, a ferry to the river Styx that's happening over here. Like, what is... What a... Also, the towers are glowing? Like, nitpicking, yeah. And then all the weird thatching, it feels like I'm just hastily filling in things in order to just make it a little bit more detailed is all. It feels more cartoony, maybe? Especially when you get to the top where everything is like too bunched up together. Yeah. I think that's the only Bale one that they did. Oh yeah, especially when we get to Albert. There's a lot of getting Albert wrong in terms of his face. Or even his hairstyle. Like, he has just simple, like, his hair is very simple. Like, center part, like, mid, like, kind of down to the bottom of the neck, but it's controlled. It's not out. It's not, like, he wouldn't look like this. He's too proper for that. And he definitely doesn't go through any character arc where he would not look proper. Like, it's ultimately against character in terms of what his hairstyle is doing. There's not much else to say other than, hey, you give him butt chin. Don't know why. The next time... Oh, yeah, especially when it's, like, him as a Dragoon, which we haven't seen yet, but he got it. Different wings again, but with the perspective of doing a shoulder to the camera there. Yeah, Midjourney was not doing perspective very well, because that wing is not detached properly. And that one's a little bit too much there. Don't know what was happening with this bit here overall. And then they really made the eyes prominent. And again, all of this detail would just be lost when translating it in-game. Unless that's supposed to be part of the weapon up there, but again, the weapon is right there. It is just a big, thick spear. No embellishments or anything. Going like, hey, I can make stuff up. Now, I'm gonna hold off on the complaining for a couple of seconds at least, because what's after this? Oh yeah, we get to look at those two. Okay, Hoax. Hoax looks fine. I think the only thing I could say is that, like, Hoax is supposed to be very, like, tight and compact, and in terms of a remake, they would make Hoax a little bit bigger in terms of perspective when you're moving through it. I get that. So that's kind of the only thing I can really say with that. So next up is a couple of things that are a little bit spoilery, but honestly, the spoiler doesn't really matter all too much in terms of my playthrough there. Kongol. So there's been, like, back and forth in terms, like, with what I've seen with AI with Kongol is either it has nothing to train on, or you get creative interpretations. Like, you have this where it's going like, well, Kongol's a bit of a barbarian, right? So we got this, we got the blood coming down the left side of the face, which is like, okay, that's an idea. That's an idea there. Not sure about the earring, though, and whatever's happening over on this side, which isn't really connected to anything. Like, there's some things I can kind of get behind with this idea. But, spoiler time. So, Kongol does become the Golden Dragoon? What is happening with this? Oh my god, what is happening with this design? It is like, ooh. Oh my goodness. Where do I start? Like, yeah, Kongol is not a human. He's a Gigantos. But he's not like beastly in any way. Like, they completely change, like, and he's supposed to be like the Earth aligned one, so it's like, okay, his entire body is now, like, in terms of his torso there, it's just rocks now. Like, the wings were an complete afterthought there. I don't know what's floating, and they didn't even try putting in his big axe, and just kind of gave up with it. Like, I look at this and go, wow, this really didn't work there. And if you're wondering what this says, it says nothing because AI can't type yet. They can't type. Still a lot of jargon. Also, giant breastplate nipples for some reason. I'm gonna move on with this. Because we have the last two. Kongol's bad enough, but then you get Rose. So the thing with Rose, we really can't get into design down. A lot of Rose and another character's designs, which I'm going to be not looking at because we haven't seen the character yet, really pull from the idea of Japanese, Korean, Chinese MMO designs usually. Like, I feel like Rose would be a design from like Black Desert Online in this regard. They kind of went and tried to do the design. It's always in the face. The face usually is just like not right. Like, Rose has a pretty standard face. Like, no real nationality behind it. Especially when you get into some certain cinematics that you can clearly see with Rose. Like she's not this kind of nationality or ethnicity, I don't believe. And then the less I talk about this, the better. What the heck happened here? Not to mention that the hair is completely off center, or at least the face has been moved to the left. That makes everything off center. The wings don't work. The shoulder pads, like, yeah, it has red accents there, but not in this way. Her arms are kind of ridiculous there, because she has her biceps, and then just the forearm is just is so much bigger. The weapon did not work. I don't know what she's holding, because if it's supposed to be her rapier, it's supposed to go and should poke out like a little bit longer here, but the fact that she's holding it like backwards going up is I don't I don't like it. I don't like this. Let's make it black screen. So yeah. And a lot of the comments are just like really praised, and sometimes you will see like some of them going like, what is happening here? And they're the ones that get the least traction. The people who actually like want to criticize the kind of thing. Because again, when it comes to these kind of designs here, when you are presenting them, like, these would be the stuff that you come in terms of pre-production. Here's what we have for these initial environments. character designs and what they look like. And then when I'm seeing these kinds of things, I'm going like, what's happening? What's happening with it? What's happening? What's happening? Especially when you compare them to the originals of like, why is this being changed? Do you have an idea of what the inside is going to look like? And it's like, no, not yet. Yeah. Anyway. So this was the easy section. Because now it's time for the hard section. What if we made these move? Because there's a lot of video AI. There's a lot of generative AI with video here. So let's take a look. Let's take a look, see. All right, so with a little bit of effort, somewhat of a little bit of effort, we have someone that I'm gonna try and just like not acknowledge just for their sake, who has been remaking the Legend of Dragoon and actually trying to use AI in terms of animating these characters. This is the early bit there. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. I think I'm gonna make that a little bit. There's Fairbrand. Yay. Yeah, and there's Dart. Like a lot of these I'm going like, okay, we got trained off of faces that have been used for AI. I'm trying to use it in some bit. They're just kind of a showcase. As much as I can say with terms of motion there. Again, but compared to the concept art, at least these designs are actually very decent and connected to what we kind of have going on there. Do we lose a lot of detail in the whole thing? Yes. But we can kind of see the whole idea here. The problem is that it looks like a production that was made in like 1998. They're made for TV. So I'm going to be kind of going around in terms of dealing with these kind of things. So we got Rose. I can say a lot from shot for shot, but even I've kind of seen the early work with Rose here. I'm kind of showing like the earliest set of like, this is the design that they were going for. And this design, I'm going like, oh wow, we finally have one that kind of works there. I'm still, the face is just very familiar there. Also, she goes 2D. So she goes 2D, oh dear. It feels so familiar there. But again, the actual design of like, they actually took care in order to kind of create what's going on. Which, good, overall. Overall, I would even say of going like, wow. Like that, this really feel like I have to give credit. I can't just like slam it. Because right here I'm going like, yeah, that'd be Lavitz. Not in a game, but in terms of like creating an independent production, I could see this being Lavitz. There's some parts that don't work, like this. Whee! And then and then the spear, and then spear kind of changes a little bit in terms of design there. It kind of loses function and focus. But again, we have ideas there. And of course, like with overall quality, I can't really do anything about that. Like, this is the quality I get. Even Shauna, I'm going like, maybe a little bit older. Oh, and I'm wondering if I should skip this next part, because when you turn around and want to make a remake that is as realistic as possible, so you get stuff like this where it just feels like an actor. So what happens when we actually have an enemy kind of going into play here? I don't know where this is supposed to be there. Wait, what's happening with the... I don't know what that was supposed to be. So you have this. Like, the recreation of that enemy is the wrong direction for making a remake because, well, it looks like it was repurposed and is just kind of an amalgamation of a couple of animals. But when I first saw this, I'm going like, oh wow, Shauna just like shot a dog in the head there. I'm not going to dwell on that other than I really didn't feel right about that at all. Again, I kind of like that they went for the simplistic, like, let's get the clear ideas here so that we don't go crazy with the whole thing. Oh, there's Haschel. Haschel. We haven't even seen this location. We won't see it for a very long time, but it doesn't really matter. Let's just take a look at his kung fu and how it doesn't really work out with the dummy that he's practicing on. Good job. They really didn't have him do too much. He does become the Violet Dragoon. We see that at the end of the first disc. In terms of the design, like, kind of loses the color and luster sometimes. But again, the design works. And this is what I mean by Kongol, because when it comes to Kongol, there really isn't anything for the AI to train off of other than the concept, other than the initial concept. So it's like, yeah, there's his face. I got nothing else. It's like, so ultimately he kind of feels out of place with the rest of the characters, because everybody else seems to be trained off of like real people, which is good. And then you get Kongol, who feels like, yeah, this would be doable in some way, shape, or form. He'd be the CGI created character. His axe, on the other hand, really loses the whole idea here. This whole area from the second disc as well, it kind of looks like for shot. It's pushed a little bit into the foreground so that he's just kind of standing on something so he can stand there. Whee! Oh, who are these people? I don't know. And the axe just completely keeps changing shape all the time. Yeah, he's very 90s CGI character right there. There's really not much else you can really do about that. All right, we're gonna skip this one because if the dog getting shot in the head, the monster who's like trained off of a dog and other like canine animals getting shot in the head was enough there. You have a character we haven't seen yet, the blue-haired, who also has a problem of being like changed over a little bit. Well, you ever wanted to see like a broken, bloody jaw? I don't. So here's Albert. I think one person mentioned that he's kind of trained off of Matt Mercer, especially in this shot here. I kind of agree. I posted a picture where Albert's face is trained off of a bunch of different people, like Matt Mercer, and then I noticed a bit where Owen Wilson was also trained off of a little bit too, which is a little bit of a problem. Also, his hair, like, yeah, that's kind of how a regular wig would kind of go off of. Again, this would be an independent production that would kind of go with this bit. I have him kind of waddling waddling into a library because I guess he loves books. Oh my god. Like, I guess it's supposed to be a scene from disc 3. But, sure. Oof. Into the wind. His spear, again, is way too ornate for no conceivable reason whatsoever. And those are the ones I'm going to show because, yeah, there's only 2 other characters we really haven't seen yet for disc 2 and disc 3. Okay, so with that, there's our characters, there's our bits. So let's take a look at how disc 1 has been recreated using AI. I'm gonna switch. There we go. We're gonna have a lot of dead space, but I really honestly do not care. So the same person who made all of remade all of the characters has been in the process for roughly the last year in 2025 remaking scenes from the game and has got to roughly the 2/3 section of disc 2 at this point. And actually a couple days ago released what one character looks like. And to be honest, I'm going like, they must have spent a little bit and multiple iterations in order to actually get it roughly accurate there. So I'm going like, okay, that's fine. But we're here for just the disc 1 stuff. Only disc 1. We won't go into disc 2. Then again, they call this, like, here's the favorite scenes. Well, we're up to favorite scene 17 right now. I'm going like, okay, we need to, like, it's not favorite scenes anymore. It's just you are redoing, like, the major scenes at this point. You can also kind of see as we go through them from the beginning of the characters and, like, this kind of beginning here, the progression of whatever they used in order to do the generation here. Again, I'm trying to be critical here. I'm not trying to just smash it down, even though by the end of it, I will say this, looking at this just hurts. Just intrinsically, if even that's the right word. So the thing I'm going to do with this is each of one of them, I'm just going to play it through without interrupting it and then kind of break it down a little bit and see what we got. So, you know, favorite scene, like this is growing pains. This is real growing pains. And it's also at this point where it's like, I feel like some of the video AI that I've kind of scrounged up that you can look at for Legend of Dragoon Remake, because that's all you really need to do in order to find most of this stuff. A lot of it seemed to be using VO 3 at this point in order to make it. They really like to keep secret about what kind of tool they're deciding to put prompts into, which is annoying to say the least. It's like programmers who want to make their own programs in order to like streamline things, and people go, "Wow, that's really handy and really super helpful." And it's like, Could you share your code? Could you share your code so other people are able to do the same thing and help each other out? And they say no, or you can pay me for the source, or you can pay me for the source code. Kind of the same. It's a similar mindset here, where it's just like, like if you're looking through AI art, which unfortunately I sometimes have to do for my job, which is so annoying. I hate it. Is every now and again I'll come across a comment which will go like, "What is the prompts they used in order to make this?" Never do they say what prompts they used in order to make this. Like, not never, but like maybe 95% of them, they do not respond to those questions because they want to keep it secret. It's like, this is mine. This is mine. I'm like, no, forget it. All right, so Fairbrand. Well, at least he's a mantis here, even though he's really lopsided here, and again, looks completely out of place CGI there. I can see that it probably took a lot in order to try and reconstruct him like properly, instead of going like, well, Fairbrand is a dragon, and then completely changing the design because AI only knows certain ways in order to make a dragon. I can also tell how old this is here because, at least when you're stopping on this one, is the rings that AI uses. Like, this is how it kind of computes things when it's transitioning and moving through things. And this is something that's actually older, or I thought was kind of ironed out honestly, a long time ago, because it feels like something that was kind of in generative AI video from like 4 years ago at this point in 2021. But it's all over the place here. It goes away as you kind of look through what's going on here, but it's still honestly kind of rough. Kind of looking there again. Whenever it has to blur, it will do those ring effects. Well, at least Fairbrand has two legs here instead. Whoop. And it's like, blink and you'll miss it with a lot of these things. It was really having problems in terms of like motion here with Rose. Whoop, zip. Zooming out and then, when I'm looking through this, I always have a mix of emotions, because at first I'm looking at it and going like, I am laughing at it because it looks completely absurd. And then I'm angry because it exists. And then I have to turn that anger into, okay, what am I actually doing with this? I need to be have some sort of construction with this thing, because this is what I'm looking at. Yeah, it does not like to do zooming out of any kind. Also, this is the point where it's like Rose is supposed to be like taking Dart away there, but the way that it's constructed is that Rose is just like going right down on top of Dart, breasts first. Like, bonk. It's really dumb. Bonk. And then I'm going to take you away. It really didn't understand the assignment in order to get behind. It's supposed to be a bigger rock than that, but it really didn't work either. As Fairbrand turns to leave, and then it cuts to, again, this is supposed to be favorite scene 1. So is the scene supposed to be, like, the scene is supposed to be the entirety of just getting into Celeste and whatnot, but it should have been done here. Like, Fairbrand should have been done there. As we have the commander going into Celeste here. Let's see how many crazy amount of rings that would then all of a sudden come into detail. Like, ugh. And again, there's no like stopping where Celeste's borders are. It's just, they make it a whole lot bigger than it actually would be. A little bit different. The perspective here makes these people look like they're fused together at the hip. He talks to the old guy, and then it goes to the commander who stays behind, and well, of course he dies. Alright. Okay, I thought I had this queued up properly, but I guess I didn't. So let's try that again. It was here. I want you. Oh, this is going to be annoying. I love scrolling through YouTube Shorts. They're so helpful and fun. There we go. So, fast forward, we got Helena, which, again, is way longer than it needs to be. So let's watch this one in its entirety. Ooh. Sorry, I guess at this point I'm going to cut the music at this point, so I'll let it play. Oop. Come back. There we go. Okay, a lot to unpack there. So we got Helena Prison, which is way bigger. Like it's expansive and now is in a rocky valley instead of in a just like column of rock and crag. There, sure. Start walking along to the side. Sure. Kind of aimless in terms of his walking. What does that move? What does that move? Whoop, whoop. It's like he's trying to like switch his arm and then he just doesn't do it. Finding some guards, meeting up with Lavitz. Can't show any fighting there. This makes him look like Lavitz has 5 o'clock shadow, which at this point, getting into that is kind of honestly a kind of an accident. And honestly makes sense unless Lavitz was not able to grow facial hair. Dart carrying around a torch for some reason, and then throwing it back. I don't know. And this is supposed to be Shauna, so this is very clearly early because Shauna doesn't. Well, oh my god. Yeah, Shauna doesn't really look like that, and that. The back hug doesn't really happen there, and they work together. What is Shauna wearing? She's wearing something completely different and is remarkably shorter now. And then we have Frugal. So the Frugal concept art and this are completely different, not from the same person. Again, trying to make him a little bit more human. Slimmed him down. A little bit of shame there. Okay, and then we get this. Where he throws the rocks, and that's a good block. Good job. I'm not sure what Lavitz is throwing here, unless that's supposed to be the depiction of a magic item. Shauna's so cool. She's able to shoot the bow and just look in a completely different direction. Just no scope. Also, fire arrow. Yep, because that absolutely happens. As it goes in and somehow makes contact with Lavitz's magical item, which makes it explode and hits Frugal, and that's it. So let's say there's some artistic liberty being put into play when it comes to what is included in the favorite scene, because some of this gets down into complete fan fiction territory. Like, yeah, there's no, shall we say, coordination between the characters in order to do like really cool kind of ideas. So this is their way of saying like, hey, in the remake, we could have these really cool coordinating ideas and special commands that could be in play so that we can make the fights a little bit more interesting. I kind of get that. But when you're saying that this is your favorite scene and your favorite scene in the scene in the original game doesn't have this, that's also just disingenuous. So what are you trying to do here? Is this a concept for the remake, or is this a remake of your favorite scene from the original game? Can't have it both ways. Ugh. Oh man, you're sneak boy. Oh, that sweet wire foo at the very end. There was also something in the upper corner of the last one which looked to be what they were using in order to, I don't know, edit it, or at least the AI tool, which I think was Vidu, VIDU, but it might have been cut off. So anyway, the limestone cave. Again, trying to do like the outside, trying to enter in, having that kind of perspective there. That perspective is just not right. It's really a kick in the teeth with the whole thing. Really have a trouble of keeping the faces together. Ooh. Paying no mind to the spear, just kind of like going in and out of existence, and then it just goes straight to your obelisk. Don't know who's fighting there. It looks like Lavitz. It's kind of being... Also, I don't know why it's in the pool, because it wasn't really a pool, and there weren't going around like the outside of it, because that would have made things more difficult for them. Yeah, I guess that is supposed to be Lavitz, who is, again, the spear does not want to go into existence with this. He's really just flailing around there. The design of him is kind of okay, except when it's really desperately trying to render it in any sort of higher quality. What the heck has happened? Okay, so we got so much artifacting. Is it supposed to be people? Or just... what? Like, if these are supposed to be people, then that could be Shauna right there, but then, like, Dart and Lavitz are being really tossed around there. Also, if that's also true, then Shauna just completely disappears. And there's also other things that are happening there, like that... I really couldn't tell you. They try to do the gas there, and then... God, the face. Trying to do the forehead thing. Why she has to be all the way back there, I don't know. And then trying to do the effect of it being encased in... So it's like, okay, I guess it's ice. This scene is funny. You just have them just kind of just relaxing all cool. Like, wow, look at it, look at the pretty snake. Like, Jesus. Like, wow, Shauna's doing some great work. Time for us to take a break. Perspective is weird, and then Wire Fu Lavitz comes in order to go wow, right above. And that's it for the limestone cave. Wow. We're gonna skip all of Basil and Bale. Let's go straight to Hoax. Okay, so we got a Hoax. Oh boy, there's a lot here because this would have been something different with all of the soldiers in the background in order to deal with. Also, that moon is moving fast, so this is a time lapse, if anything. So we got Kongol still kind of showing off that's like, yeah, that's all we got to train for. And we got all the soldiers in the back there. Also, his movement was just like, okay, let's move really fast. Whoop-a-doo. We just slash at one with dart. Yep, wish-ha. Lavit's doing thing. Also, what is that axe movement from Kongol? So he's going up to strike and then completely goes to his left. And for some reason, this makes that effect happen. Blowing him that way. And Dart just kind of looking on before he explodes from his right. Just poof. Come on, what has happened? What is... And then, I guess that's supposed to be him flying backwards. But that is indiscernible. And then Rose shows up to do some posing and movement and whoa. Okay, posing, movement, shows up, spins around, or to strike Kongol in the back, sort of, but not. Yeah, that's definitely no... Okay, sort of, yeah, there's just no weight to... The ultimate thing is that there's no weight to it. Also, this is like the beginning. This seems to be the beginning of, yeah, I'm not just going to train on Kongol's face anymore. There's other faces that are inside of there, especially when the overall structure of his body is getting different. Calls on the red-eyed dragon. Flies into the sky. Not much I can really say about just like the effect there, but again, like in terms of being like modern, like today, it's not. Like this feels 97, 98 TV production, like something that the BBC would put out with very little budget. Yeah, that is a very different face for Kongol now. He comes right back down to Earth. What? Wait. Okay, he comes down again, and then kind of just poofs upwards. Sure. And then shows up. Because in the actual scene, he goes head on and throws Kongol into the wall. In the original there. This frame that I kind of mixed in the middle. The scrunched face versus the bewilderment of Lavitz. Great. And then all these guys. It's just like we don't have time. We do not have time for any of these guys. They feel like, it feels like the armor was ripped from like Robin Hood. Like the Disney Robin Hood. Like this is the armor that the rhinos wear. Like what is as they all run toward the, wow, that's unsettling. Thank you for that pause. Anyway, that's Hoax. Ooh boy, where do they go to next? Do they do Firebird? Oh no, they do Marshland. Oh, we get the piggyback scene. Okay, let's watch that. Anyway, God. Okay, trying to put this together. All right, pieces together. So I know that with the last little bits, there have been some comment influence about what the audience of these wanted to see next, and one of them says like, I absolutely want to see this person do the piggyback scene in the marshlands, and that's kind of the only reason why it's here. Because otherwise, yeah, they do the piggyback scene in the marshlands, and then they move on to Volcano. I'm like, yeah, they kind of do the piggyback kind of all right. Like, I would see that this is a very low piggyback there. Like, really good core strength of Shauna, honestly, in order to hold on from here. But, yeah, then you kind of move on. After this, it's just a flame and lava and nightmare in order to take a look at. Because, yeah, it's like depicting Firebird after we see all of the stuff from the last one. Like, okay. Kind of the same effect. It felt like it was a little bit easier to work with. Also, Shauna's face all being scrunched up. Like, she's seen a lot. Rose is just like wonderfully foundation, wonderful complexion, despite being surrounded in Volcano. You kind of lose the form of what Firebird's doing with all the motion there. Also, surprisingly bright. Like overexposed with Rose. Also, she is using a dagger. Yep, she's just using a little dirk, just kind of backhanded and going like, yeah, I'm going to slice the fire. Yep, absolutely. Oh my goodness, okay. So sword goes that way. I don't even ask what he's hitting, but is that the sword? Is that the sword right there? Is that the sword? Okay. And then goes back forth, and then just weird shaky hand movement that's happening all over there. Very different face. Time to transform. I'm going to put most of the effect over Rose's head for some reason, and then she shows up. That's a weird cut. Yeah, that's weird. Okay. Smack, and then, yeah, there's like a split second of something that Dart is doing. Right there. Yeah. It's mostly just making whatever that ball is. Don't know what that ball is. So this is kind of just the overall guess of, okay, we're doing Dragoon magic now. We have to depict it somehow. I think this is supposed to be explosion. And then we see roses, which is supposed to be Astral Drain. I think that's supposed to be Astral Drain. Maybe. Quick music change, and then it's Dart showing off Flame Shot. And then Firebird getting sucked into the... That's not supposed to be Astral Drain. It's also not supposed to be Death Dimension either, because we get to see Death Dimension a little bit later. So, I don't know what this... Like, it might be her level 3. It might be her level 3. And I'm completely blanking on what it is. I won't do that right now. Ugh. Like, if I go back and do that little bit there, that is a messy thing to look at. Yeah, like, even the tracking of the fire around, like, it should just... So, it's the fire, and he brings it out that way, brings back his hand, but it comes back the completely different direction. And then swings it, and then it makes a huge, gigantic explosion, and then Firebird just goes away. Goodbye. Whew, boy. Okay, next. To be continued. Oh my goodness. Okay, the Dragon's Nest. Yeah, there's only so much I can really say about the sound effects. Woo. Okay. So apart from Graham kind of being shown up, like a little bit, shall we say, in shadow for the benefit of the rendering, at least. Okay, and then they kind of have their conversation about honor and Graham killing Lavitz's dad and all of that business. Also, his staff completely changed. His spear also completely changed. It had this tip on it, and then it doesn't have that tip anymore. Also, that perspective there making... Like, I get it from a cinematography standpoint, but still, why do it this way? Like, Graham was already perched on top of something so that they already had to talk, like, up towards him. So this was the interpretation of that? Like, okay. That's kind of what I got from that. Now, already at this point, I can see that they've kind of ironed out a lot of the kinks with the beginning there, like this being the last bit that we'll see of Fairbrand. Honestly, best depiction out of all of them, if that says anything. And then we get Dragoon form, which we don't really see really good up close. Again, a lot of the details get lost in terms of the lighting. And then we get a bunch of things that just don't happen. Like all of the vine business. Like spilling of vines everywhere that go and capture the party. This would have been a better thing in the boss fight. There, going like, okay, Graham could have captured people in the vines in order to eject them from combat, which would have been a bigger challenge overall. Shauna looking like she's about to Hulk out. I don't... They go and fly away and go and slash at all of the things there, sort of. And yeah, okay, that's really a mess to look at. Spinning around, dealing with all of that. Fight the dragon. What is that? Spit. Just weird explosion out of nowhere. Phew. Okay. Shoots spear and does nothing. It just goes that way. Aimlessly. Misses that. And then Shauna gets more. Okay. Alright, let's keep going then. Okay, so it's definitely her level 3. One that we don't even have yet. Okay. Rest of the scene there. So we have the spear flying. And then it just kind of goes into, again, none of this happens. This is what I kind of want to see here. So what? Not supposed. So that was shot by Graham, and it just kind of screwed up and shot at Fairburn instead, and that's how Fairburn dies. Okay, whatever. Then we got Dart. Whoa, what is that sword doing? What's the sword doing? There's something about he tosses it. He tosses it up in order to get it down, and then very weird length perspective here as it tries to just like stay in reality as it explodes and hits the ground. I guess that's supposed to be the last attack there, because at the last attack of the regular D attack, it does explode as he jumps back up. So I guess that's where that comes from. It just has a weird look to it all. Boing. Oh, no, Fairbairn's still around. And now he's not. He just continues to explode. And then we get a shot of Rose's level 3, which we don't have yet, where, yeah, she does split in 2 there, which the AI really doesn't want it to split in 2 at all. I think this is what they were trying to do with Firebird. So this is like so this is like the improved look, because then Fairburn goes into the black hole twice, apparently. Goodbye. And then through, and again, doesn't really happen, through Darts and Rose's combined powers, infuses Lavis's spear, which that is not how you throw a spear. You have it, okay. He has it ready. He has it ready to throw. And he throws it underhand. Wow, okay. He throws it underhand. Blah. With very little momentum through Graham. And that is what kills him. He smokes. And then Dragoon Spirit, which immediately transforms. Sure. Whew. There's a lot to take in. Oh my goodness. There's still, I don't remember how many more of these scenes there are, but we're going to get through them. They'll get to the end of disc 1. Oh no, Sean is sick. Oh, this is where subtitles come into play. Oh no. Oh no. Whee. Oh boy. Oh boy. Okay. So we start decently enough with Shauna just kind of succumbing to the poison. This is where the subtitles come into play. Yeah, they're poorly paced because AI can only do so much before it starts hallucinating stuff. So it's like, yeah, they try to do sometimes large swaths of text, and they say large swaths in terms of subtitles, where you really have to pause it in order to really have it there. Okay, I have to go through that again. So we got Lohan. Look at all these tiny people. We got a little meeple here. We don't have. There's just no time. It looks too much like a miniature village with Lohan. Yeah, just like we don't have enough time in order to just do anything here. What is that? That closest person. And that's the best we're able to get in terms of detail there. It's just okay. There's a dude. There's Sanitar. Couldn't believe it was dragon's poison. Hmm. Good facial features. Good facial features. If we can get some Dragonis plants, she may survive. Who is he talking to? Who's this? Who's around there? That's supposed to be like a bit of Lavitz. I couldn't really say for sure. Especially when they come in afterwards and just kind of move around. Shauna looks super comfy. Super, super comfy. I'm looking at this and going, okay, the boots kind of lost a little bit there. And I think it's just the lack of neck. There's no neck anymore. Because everything feels like too high with Rose all of a sudden. As they move on to Shirley's Shrine. And there's Drake. Again, like the face feels super familiar, but I just can't nail it. You thieves, prepare yourselves. I won't let you go further. Oh, look at his basket. Like that's how the net was. Because again, the net just kind of goes all over flat around the screen there. So now I have tried this trap. It looks silly. You cannot possibly penetrate my defenses. Leave it to me, bully. Leave it to me. And then Rose says bully for no reason. This is another thing that happens with the subtitles is that they just put in dialogue that just doesn't exist. Again, artistic license as Lavitz wire foos and winds. I don't know what sort of. I guess this is supposed to be just the wind magic item because this doesn't look like wing blaster, or maybe it's gaspless. I don't really know for sure. It looks like the funnel cloud looks not great. Whee! And he's down on the ground. And then rainbows show up. I'm going to play that sound effect again. Shirley's really good with lasers. I kind of got the flowy, like, linen satin kind of look with her. Anyway, more Shirley. That is absolutely what I mean by the subtitles. Jeez. Okay. Not to mention that the subtitles just completely, like, you gotta pause it in order to read it because there's not enough time, naturally, in order to do it. So, Shirley, and then don't know what's going on. They just kind of created this bit going down from Rose's butt. You have been on your sad journey since then. Was there another subtitle just before that? Rose, aren't you? Yeah. Okay, nothing there. All right, sure. Won't you spare me some Dragoni plant? Shauna has been suffering from dragon's poison. Unfortunately, I don't have any Dragoni plants. Like, it's too much at this point to have faces match what could possibly be said with the subtitles. There is one way to save her. My white silver dragoon spirit can remove the poison. I'll try anything, just tell me. Now I will challenge you to see if you deserve this dragoon spirit. It's kind of a it's a little bit of a hole in the plot that I didn't mention with Shirley, is that we'll learn a little bit more about Shirley later, but I will just say that the white silver dragoon spirit has been with her the entire time, and it's really not clear like how Shirley got to this shrine from where Shirley was originally, and kept the dragoon spirit for that long. Try to overcome me. If you cannot do it, the girl's fate is to die. They somehow make up a completely different space. Dart, I've been waiting. Why did you leave without saying a word? Just at least it's getting a little bit different there. To pursue the black monster. For some reason, I look at this and going like, is he not wearing armor anymore? It looks a little bit too painted on. Please forget about the revenge and be with me, the black monster, or me. Space, space dart. Yeah, that looks painted on based on like the pose that he's kind of doing there. And that's all we gotta do. Ta-da! Ah. And then becomes pixie dust. And we get to see Drake cry just because. Now, the other thing I didn't mention is the music that is playing when Shauna gets the dragoon spirit is not a happy one. It uses the ominous music, which is a good foreshadowing tool, which is lost in this. It's like, yep, now I'm a dragoon now. Great. Yep, cool. Moving on. So we're at Shirley, we're at Lohan. So that means the next one should be about Lloyd, right? Yep. Oh, Atlo. Ooh. Okay. First, this like this weird rotating shot is just strange mixed with this music. Like I could just loop it. Oh, it's so wooden. It looks like he has a really cool joke he wants to tell you. What's happening in the background? Because we got the people here. Where is he waiting? He's waiting in a completely different room than what's supposed to be there. Like try to do the Coliseum around it. Even though it looks out of place still. Wow, Atlo's showing feet. I didn't think he had. What? Oh my goodness. Dart is holding two swords. Yeah, Dart is just holding two swords. He's now double swording. Could you imagine all the people who is going to be seeing that and actually having a shot of them cheering from the stands, which is a very clear thing that a lot of JRPGs were doing back at the time and Legend of Dragoon just didn't do? Again, yeah. Like critically, I do not like the the tournament in Legend of Dragoon. Heavily criticize it. Yeah, he's really just showing feet. I'm looking way too much at the feet right now. I'm just looking. It's like it has the right amount of toes. So okay, points for feet, points for hands too. They got the right amount of fingers. 1, 2, 3, 4. We're good with hands and feet. Whoa. Like Atlo's pretty wooden because there's not much to train off of. It looks like we have some like Craven the Hunter business happening here. The bow is bad. The bow is bad. He definitely pulled that bow. Whee! How did he block that? By just throwing the sword, pretty much. Sometimes he has one sword, sometimes he has two. One, and then somehow he's doing all that business. All right. God, the freaking walk. Oh my god. Do 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 do. Oh my. This walk. Hashel. Yay. Yeah, this is early Hashel because yeah, he looks too bulky. Like he's really like going out there in terms of the stance there. Yeah, if anything, I feel like Hashel here is just too young. At last we could meet in the final match. Oh, and then his face completely changes there. Yeah, that is an incorrect face. And then it just fixes itself there. It was just like that was the first take and then didn't do it again. What, did you lose? Yeah, this is painted on there. Like that moves really strangely. It's yeah, that is just skin. The way that moves and tenses and goes up and down, that is just torso. That is abdominals. That is not armor. Speak of the devil. Again, who is this reminding me of? God. At least his like shirt design is pretty simple to get. They don't even show Haschel in... Okay, there he is. They barely show Haschel in that shot. All of a sudden, they're just showing this guy in the background. Like, who is this? Think of him as a test for yourself and just do it. We will meet in the final. Let's have a good one. He is just openly staring. Oh boy. Indeed, I dedicate this match to what fate has in store for us. Me? And then it just cuts to the fight. His sword is completely different again. I think he's holding it backwards. Again, materializes out of nowhere there. Because this part is really long for no apparent reason. Wait, did it do it again? I was looking as like, okay, the guard on it is getting a little bit better. Yeah, that back is really long. What does he throw? Eric doesn't throw things. And then he does the speed thing against him. Whee! I can't even parse that. This is just ugh. Ew. The winner is the platinum-haired swordsman Lloyd. Oh my god. Look at the people in the back. Like, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then it's just like, okay, we get the people. And we're only going to make Shauna show up with this. No idea where... She's sitting. Is that supposed to be your leg? So where is she viewing from? Alright, severe cut. Ooh, dear. Okay. What is there even to say about this one? My god. Also, there we go. Kind of Shorts kind of poops itself a little bit when you're watching one's a whole lot there. Okay. That's a mess. Whew. Okay. So we got Django. We're back into this business. We're not going to see Haschel in this whatsoever because Haschel's not important. We got the 4 dragoons having to do things right now. So Shauna's in action. She absolutely shot an arrow, but not just 1, 2, but maybe 3, and then many that made a sparkle. Throws rocks. Lavitz does a flappy move. Ooh boy. And breaks a rock. Is that the thing that happens there? Rose is flip-flopping, doing the thing. Dart is doing a stab and going on top of him and doing the thing. Oh, a lot of the times when I'm seeing AI artists in terms of my job in there, I'm going like, yeah, they just put things out because hey, these were all generated, might as well do it. This feels like it at this point. Oh, and then we get this. So I'm not gonna pause it on that. Okay. Fire Eyes, which turns into this. Let's just make up stuff. This is what I want to see in the remake. This is absolutely the version of Legend of Dragoon I played when I was... Yeah, Synergy Dragoon magic. Yeah. No? Complete obliteration wings. Throw the GIF at the thing. Ooh, boy. Ooh, boy. Hurry, let's go. Let's fly somewhere, even though... We're flying everywhere, even though we're supposed to be trapped in a cave. I think this is the most egregious one. Jesus. Oh, okay. I need to refresh the queue again because... All right, we were at 9. How many more do we have here? We got 9. Okay, we got 3 more. Thank God. I'm getting tired from looking at all this. This is mentally taxing. There we go. So do you remember what Frugal looked like 45 minutes ago? Well, they kind of fixed it in terms of making him look like a version of a character from... Like, when I say that it feels like a production from like 97, 98, like, I'm being charitable. This feels like prosthetic. It feels like prosthetics. Feels like practical, like, mask you would put over yourself. That I would see in, like... I wouldn't see it in Xena, like Warrior Princess, but I would see it in, like, maybe Beastmaster, if I remember Beastmaster at all, or Sinbad, Legend of the Seven Seas, which is also not bad. Something you would see and would be like broadcast at like 6:30 in the morning, something like that. So here's Frugal. At least he's more true to what he's supposed to look like. Oh my God, that draw! I'm not supposed to pause. There's Albert. Oh God. Whoa. Ooh. Okay. There's some things. Okay. So Frugal... God, the jaw stretch. Even at the tail end of that. Yikes, that's a little bit creepy. Small glimpse of your son, I'll cut your head off for you. There's Albert. Looking a little disheveled. Already, like, he's supposed to be... He's not supposed to be wearing anything. Like, bound, yes, but also the binds are very loose. Like, Albert, you could get out of that. Like, yeah, that's Frugal. Like, I got it. Whoop. Except when he goes, hang, 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 hang. Hang, hang. Hang, hang, and then he throws a lot of... He's pretty much just doing this to the camera. Like, I'm gonna... You can see me. Alright, Hashel's with us. So, Hashel is going to just, like, really punch him. What is happening with the club? No, and then I get to hit you, and then whoa. What a shock and surprise. Oh, I'm having fun. This is what makes me like, I look at this and go like, yes, overall this is terrible. But then I kind of laugh at the terribleness already because like, yeah, this is fine. Everything's fine. Lavich shows up in order to just kind of bonk him on the head. And then... Goodbye. Also, all this time we're inside of the covered area, and then we kind of just lose focus of the setting because, yeah, now there's no roof. He's just falling off of a wall. Like, we don't get to see where Frugal went, so this kind of gives an idea of where he went. The only depiction of the black hooded man. Let's see. Yeah, they really cut there. Also, his hand just kind of goes like down and then up again. Arg. Yeah, he doesn't even grab it. He just makes magic smoke come out of it, and then the moon gem just floats towards him. Didn't spend a whole lot of time on this either, because again, hooded gentleman, nothing to train on. Except for one thing. So there's moon gem. I don't think the moon gem even like keeps its relative shape. It kind of does. Lavitz comes in. So the effect of the Dragon Buster does not work. So opens up the cape. Dragon Buster shows up there. Stays there as the arm right down here actually does the thrusting. And then stays in... Wait. I think there's also a hand. Is that a hand that also shows up there? Oh, there's too much. Yeah. This is just a nubby... There's just a nubby stump of a hand that shows up there. Ugh. Bonk. Also, the green turned blue. We're losing color here, and the sleeve, and we're losing the plot. Okay. So we had points for hands a little bit. Now we kind of don't. Yeah, that hand kind of loses its bit here. Also, the zoom in on Lloyd's face. I killed the man. This is killed the man. Whoa. Also, he's holding it here again, but it's not the same moon gem. I don't know what he's holding anymore. Like, when Lloyd reveals himself, he's not holding anything. Hello. And he jumps off. So he's a little bloody here, and then he's super bloody here. And is that... I don't know, that's like Jamie Fragrance or something. Okay. But okay, wait, that face there. So he's going down and looking at it, and then he's like, he looks annoyed. Like, Oh god, it's gonna take so long to clean up. Damn it. Also, Rose does not console Shauna. Shauna is beside Rose and turns because Rose is the closest thing in order to turn away from it. Like Rose doesn't really care overall. Okay. I need that reaction. I need that Fergal reaction. Okay. Two more and we get to the end of disc 1. Because now we get into the castle here. Already have things to say, and it's the first bit. Anyway. Okay. First, the recreation of Karina's statue is good. The problem is it's that it's set into the wall, which it's not. So yeah, this is just kind of a mangling of the ascent to the throne room there. It's just like, yeah, this is totally the Of course it's not the castle. Of course it's not. Ugh. Also, we just kind of lose that and we're just in a courtyard to fight Kongol again in the plot, the character relevant armor. Man, he looks the most out of place. Is how do you make this Giganto's armor more realistic, as it were? As he move, Shauna, no. Okay, so we got. She's really good at that. Which-ha? Yeah, she's like a master archer right now. Like, that is crazy ready with the draw. Like, that drawstring doesn't even connect to the bow. It probably doesn't. Also, barely does any damage. Pop. That's it. If that's supposed to be Star Children... No. And... no, the light. Erg. I love that he gets hit by it constantly. It's like, no, no, no. And this last little bit where he kind of loses just like all resolution and whatnot, he just like, he looks like he's more tantruming than anything. He's just like, no, just do not fear. Here. This is the picture that I posted of like Albert being connected to Owen Wilson a little bit with that face. Because, yeah. Isn't it great when wind can also look like water effects? My God. So, also, you know, in that scene where you have the 5 of them and they split up as to keep Kongal busy. Shauna and Albert keep them busy so that Dart, Rose, and Haschel can go and fight Dole. That scene where the party splits up, so that, Albert and Dole don't talk to one another before they actually fight, like, because that makes more sense. What do you mean? What are you doing? And then Dart running away. La la la. Like, he looked like he tripped on something. And he's flailing his sword around like a child. Like, wow. So. And when I'm looking at the throne room, and it's like, apart from like AI upscaling, I don't think there was actually any work really done with this. It just looks worse. But I think there was like barely any. It doesn't look like there was almost any work done here. It looks just so like it looks like nothing. Like it just. Meanwhile, okay, you got Dole. It's looking okay. You thought you would defifat me with greater numbers, right? It won't make any difference. With greater numbers, but except that they split off. So it's actually only 3 of them because the other 2 are taking care of Kongal, because that happened in the game. I don't know, I played the game wrong. Haschel? Okay. Again, swords are hard. So, yeah, and then they do-si-do, and then they kind of the swords disappear for a bit, and then they reappear. I don't know what they're clashing against, unless they're clashing against the Haschel's wrist guards. And again, Dart really feeling like he has 2 swords again in order to do this kind of duel that's kind of going on there. The sparks really mask a whole lot of stuff that happens here, which ultimately makes it not cool. Like, at least there's a little bit of like force between like crossing the sword guards together. There's a little bit of that, and then they disappear. Just an amalgamation of whatever until they materialize once again. They just enter the void. Oh, if you want to play tough. Again, something with this AI wants to make swords that want to jut out way out longer than they need to be. I can play that way too. And now it looks like I have 2 stun rods instead of having a long sword and a short sword, which actually shows a little bit of swordplay and understanding of like, yeah, you have that kind of sword usage. But no, he's Lightning Dragoon, so let's give him 2 stun rods. Also a big, huge gobstopper, which shrinks and then grows and then becomes the magic. Like, I suppose it's like, yeah, we have the field that covers Dole in the last fight, but doesn't explode and doesn't attack the other ones. And why is Rose within one of the windows? Like, why here? Like, why is this location doing the thing? So very brushed face. That's supposed to be his wings. Yeah, that is supposed to be the wings. Ugh. That that really falls apart there, especially when it looks like part of the wings just like breaks off, like that's blood. It's kind of like going, which leaves Haschel to fight by himself. Oh my god. And then we get the end of disc 1. Yep, the end of disc 1. You'll notice that with everything that I'm kind of showing in terms of the AI stuff, they really didn't do anything with the music. So, and unfortunately, there are AI music tools that are out there in order to create something that could possibly remaster and elevate the music from games in general, but they just don't use. But I guess this is not their tool set, and I've never heard or come across any sort of like, yeah, let's remaster the music for a Legend of Dragoon remake. I hope I never hear any of it, to be honest. But again, they're just reusing the music there. Okay, Dole. So no stun rods with this one. So they kind of change it back to having a longer bit and a shorter bit. Not enough detail, but it's there. It's there. The wings, it kind of looks like we have like 2 pairs of wings though. Especially at the end where all of a sudden these 2 bits show up. It's like, okay, we're again hallucinating a little bit. We got some 2D feeling kind of things happening right here, unfortunately. It's been a while. Except Haschel can hold his own by not even looking at him. Just whack. You made it in time. I guess that was supposed to be Albert protecting Haschel right there. What about the Gigantos guy? We took him down. And then we use Moonlight to heal the other ones so that they can regroup and attack them all together as 5, because that absolutely happens too. How touching. Now you can all die together. And this is supposed to be Final Burst. Or Darts level 3. Sure. There's no, like... We haven't seen it, personally, but it's supposed to be just like a shoot straight through the enemy there, instead of, oh, let's just do, like, separate pyrotechnics and edit it in a little bit later, which it kind of looks like here. Again, very 80s and 90s production kind of technique there. Albert's doing the, nuh-uh, I guarded against it, like it's playground rules. And Rose does Death Dimension, which turned into a literal picture frame, an ornate one. And Dole going, ah, no! I'm trapped in the picture. And then, wait, what did he look like? He looks very sickly inside of the picture. And then Dart smashes the picture into icicles, which kills but brings him back, and he writhes on the floor. There's no sad kind of parting of Dole, no sad parting of him like regaining clarity before passing on, and then Paschal receiving the Dragoon spirit and going like, yep, this purple thing's mine now. Because that's the end of disc 1. Favorite scenes, huh? Boy. So that's a whole lot. That's a whole lot to dig in. And I kind of look at it and going like, okay, what's the goal here? What's the end game? Because a lot of the times I'm feeling like a lot of the end game is maybe I can get paid for this. Like I've seen that with a lot of artists who's just like, yeah, I'm just going to put out 65 of the same image that's just like changed roughly, because a lot of that output is just like, hey, if I put in a prompt, here's the different ways that the tool interpreted it. And then they kind of look at it and going like, wow, I have all of this art here. I'm just going to post all of this art. And if you want to see all of the art, I put it in a bundle and I'm going to sell it for like $25 or something like that. I don't really know what is the goal here, because I don't see this as being like, oh yeah, we're remaking Legend of Dragoon. Because are you really doing that with this? Like, how does this translate? Again, if this is a pitch, how does this translate into anything tangible that can be played? This is something that is being watched. Because I'm at a loss. A lot of the comments, of course, are just kind of in their own bubble of just like praising that it even exists to begin with. To the point where you're seeing like even the remotest amount of like criticism behind it. The most common thing that is usually seen is like, well, can you do better? My response to that is no. And I don't want to do better. I do not want to put any effort into this, and would rather put my effort into anything else that is actually going to be of anything substantial. Because I look at this and I look at it as a pitch and go, are we like, how is this? Is this a game? Is this a movie? Is this a TV production? What is it? And I can kind of hear the answer of going like, it's a concept. It's a concept. I'm like, a concept of what? Is it a concept of a game, a movie, or a TV production? Are you selling this to Netflix? Are you selling this to Sony? Like, what do you plan to do with this? And I don't see the plan. I don't see the vision behind this. The other thing about it is that a lot of people, like, it's hidden in secrecy behind like how quickly people are able to output things like this. Because there was a substantial gap between the most recent part in this, which is into disc 2, versus the last one, which was like the previous one's like was in December and the last one was in August. So did it take that long? Because I look at this one and this came out in February. Looking at this, and if I were to go back and look at the previous, like look at the very first one with all of its extremely rough edges to it, it was December of 2024. So, in a span of 2 months, covered the first disc. Which I can I can understand that. Putting together all the characters to show them off, that was in November. So there was a month between. So do I believe that between August and December it took that long in order to produce it? No, I don't think so. Yeah, I don't think it took that long in order to do. In terms of a bunch of this stuff. But man, it's just frustrating when I'm looking at all this. Because I see a lot of, I hear and I talk with concept artists who have pitched things for the last 2 years and constantly get rejected for like their hand-drawn stuff, and they have a very clear vision of what they want to do. And then there's this stuff. And which is like visionless. There's like, because I'm going like, what's the point of doing this? Especially when you're inserting things for your own sake, even though you say it's like, oh, it's your favorite scene there, which eventually turned into, no, it still calls it favorite scene. Interesting, that doesn't show up. It doesn't show up on OBS. Yeah, favorite scene 16, fan made, favorite scene. But I'm going like, it's your favorite, but it's also fabricated. So that's why I'm kind of at odds with like my feelings toward it, where it's funny and it's anger inducing. And I'm going like, and then I'm stuck with trying to construct out of something that has been created, and what do we do with it? And I don't want to be that, and I don't want to be a person where it's just like stomped into the ground because it's bad. Like it kind of is. I can see bits and pieces where it's merited. I can see where faith has honestly been put into it compared to other things where faith has absolutely not been put into it. Because I see this and going like, this is kind of like honestly the best that the Legend of Dragoon has for recent content, which is very sad. Apart from the very hardworking mod makers who are trying to actually do something with Legend of Dragoon in order to update and make it different. Like again, Severed Chains is like the project for Legend of Dragoon that you can actually play and use and have fun with. Whereas this kind of creation is something that I cannot really do anything with apart from criticize it. We're not done with it either. There are some other things I want to pick apart, some other things that I find absolutely fascinating that it was even made there, because there's a lot of things that I kind of get started on and go, yeah, this is completely ridiculous. I need to, like, initial idea, and then I kind of throw it into the garbage going like, yeah, this is completely stupid. That I also want to showcase off, but it won't be for a long while. Like, we have Disc 2 to start off with, and then we'll take another journey into this, because we do have a couple of Disc 2 things to take a look at. Like, who's this princess? Who's this man? And Heschel is and Heschel gets his time in the sun there. So we got a few more of these to take a look at, but it won't be for a while. Unless they're taken down, of course. If they're taken down, then they're taken down. Oh well. All right. So that'll be it. That'll be it for me. That's kind of what I want to take a look at before I kind of close up shop for this year. yeah, there's not going to be another stream from me. There will be another video that's posted on Monday, continuing on the Star Ocean. But in terms of streams, there won't be anything until January. And I won't be doing anything with Legend of Dragoon until the next project that I'm thinking of doing in January is done with. Because I want to space out my time with the discs. And it isn't even for holidays, unfortunately. Because I get to, like, I'm tired. Like, tomorrow on Christmas Eve, of all times, I'm hopping on a plane. But I'm not hopping on a plane in order to go see family. I'm hopping on a plane in order to do some business work. I get to work over Christmas. Getting that 1.5 times pay for working on Christmas. Oh well. I'll find time in order to do some holiday, but it won't be for a while. Maybe in February. Who knows? Okay, let's put this away. Let's put this away. I don't like looking at it, so I can just be in the corner. I don't like being full screen. I'm enjoying like being here but I don't need to fill up the entire screen. That's fine with me. All right. With the sad music finishing off there, I'm going to take off and finish off here. So, thank you for watching. Thank you for being here. Hope you enjoyed this journey through Legend of Dragoon Remake content using AI. And I will see you when I see you. If not, I will see you on Monday, the 27th, for the next Star Ocean video. Because that'll be up then. And maybe for episode 7, which will be on the 5th of January. Regardless. Take care, everyone. See you later. Bye.